Sara, a 28-year-old paranormal investigator, had always been skeptical about ghost stories. Her YouTube channel thrived on busting myths, but this time was different. She had been dared to spend the night at Alderidge Hotel, a place no one in town dared approach. The stories were clear. Room 13 was cursed, and people who entered were never seen the same again. Desperate for content, Sara agreed, though a strange weight sat in her chest as she pulled up to the crumbling building that evening. The hotel was massive, its Gothic architecture looming like a shadow in the dying light. Vines had choked the walls, windows were shattered, and the faint smell of decay hung in the cold air. Her flashlight was dim against the growing darkness as she stepped inside. The heavy front door creaked shut behind her, and for a moment it felt as though the building had swallowed her whole. Dust swirled under the beam of her flashlight as she whispered into her camera, "This is Alderidge Hotel. I'm here to prove that there's nothing to fear, except maybe the rats." She forced a laugh, but it felt hollow. Her viewers flooded the chat. "Sara, don't go in there. This feels bad. It's too quiet." And it was. The silence was unnatural, thick, like the air itself was waiting. As she walked down the long corridor, her shoes made the only sound. Sharp, lonely echoes that seemed to stretch forever. The hotel was a ruin. Broken furniture, water stains on the ceilings, peeling wallpaper. Sara moved past paintings whose eyes seemed to follow her. Her flashlight flickered, and the viewer's warnings grew louder. "Sara, I saw something move. Behind you. Look behind you." She spun around, her light bouncing wildly across the hall. Nothing. But for the first time, she thought she heard something faint, like footsteps trailing behind her, matching her pace perfectly. When she finally reached room 13, the door was ajar, as though waiting for her. The number 13 was scratched into the wood, deep grooves that looked fresh. Sara hesitated. "All right, here we go," she said into the camera, though her voice wavered. She pushed the door open, and it groaned like an old man in pain. The room was empty except for a massive mirror on the far wall. It stood nearly 7 feet tall, its silver frame tarnished and blackened with age. Yet the glass was perfect, so clean it was almost unsettling. Sara stepped closer, her flashlight shaking slightly. "That's weird. A perfect mirror in this dump." Her viewers' messages turned frantic. "Sara, don't go near it. Your reflection. Why is it smiling?" She froze. Her breath caught in her throat as she stared at her reflection. She wasn't smiling, but her reflection was. It grinned, slowly stretching into something monstrous, its teeth too sharp, its eyes sinking into black pits. The whispering started then, soft at first, but growing louder like hundreds of voices murmuring her name from far away. "Sara, Sara, let us out." The reflection tilted its head, its face twitching unnaturally. "Okay, nope, I'm done." Sara spun around and ran for the door, but it slammed shut on its own, the sound deafening. She pounded on the wood, screaming, but no one could hear her. When she turned back, the mirror was alive, its surface rippling like black water. Dozens of distorted reflections appeared within it, versions of her, all smiling that wide, horrible grin. They pressed their hands against the glass, whispering louder, faster, "Let us out. Let us out." Sara backed away, tears in her eyes. Her flashlight flickered and died, plunging her into darkness. The only light now came from the mirror, which glowed faintly. Slowly, one of her reflections stepped out of the glass. It wasn't just an image anymore. It was real. Its movements were jerky, like a puppet with broken strings. Its smile never wavered. "You brought us here," it said, in a voice that was hers but wrong, low, warped, and echoing. Sara screamed as cold hands grabbed her ankles, pulling her toward the mirror. She clawed at the floor, her nails breaking against the wood. "Please, let me go." But the whispering only grew louder, drowning her cries. The mirror's surface stretched like liquid as she was pulled in, her final scream echoing through the room. The glass rippled once more and then still, leaving the room silent. The live stream didn't stop. The camera lay on the floor, pointing at the mirror. For minutes, nothing happened, until Sara's reflection appeared again. This time, her eyes were black, and her smile was wider than ever. She leaned close to the glass and whispered, "I see you." The screen glitched. The stream ended abruptly. Days later, the video went viral, shared by thousands of terrified viewers. People swore they heard whispers coming from their headphones, calling their names. Some even claimed they saw Sara's face appear in their own mirrors at night, smiling back at them. Then, one by one, those viewers began to disappear.